It's my privilege to welcome Mr. Ravi Kumar, Head of Operations Roots Multi-Clean Limited. Mr. Ravi Kumar is going to talk about a very interesting subject, fluid power for a cleaner and safer tomorrow. Why I say interesting is because we are in the middle of a pandemic now, and cleanliness and safety are two aspects that have hit us home like no other aspects in our past, in our living memories, or maybe in the over the last 3 or 4 generations. So the juxtaposed with our reality, this the topic of his presentation and the initiatives that he and his organization are taking are very timely and relevant indeed. Mr. Ravi Kumar has very, very impressive professional credentials. To list a few, he is an expert. He has covered lean manufacturing systems at Festool. He has trained under Dr. Noriaki Kano for TQM. He has trained under Dr. Yukihiro Ando for industrial problem-solving techniques. He has studied failure analysis of industrial components at IIT Madras. He has also studied NDT techniques, Six Sigma techniques. On the academic front, he's a Bachelor of Engineering in Mechanical faculty, and he's also a gold medalist in MBA. He has an overall experience of 25 years in the industry, and he's passionate about industrial training, motivational speaking, environment, and nature. He has a plethora of professional memberships, including Coimbatore Productivity Council, Indian Welding Society, Indian Institute of Materials Management, Indian Plastics Institute, uh, Star Asia, Rotomolders, Institute of Indian Foundrymen, Madras Literary Society, Academic Advisory Council, Board of Studies, examinations of various autonomous industrial educational institutions. So what we have today is a very distinguished authority in the who is a technocrat and a management expert, and or and above all that, very conscious and conscientious individual as far as the industrial ecosystem and the ecosystem and environment at large is concerned. Welcome, Mr. Ravi Kumar, and I request you to take over the proceedings. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kastu. Okay, so I'll begin my presentation. So before I get into the topic, first of all, I would like to thank the organizers of the event, FPSI National Council, and particularly the Coimbatore chapter, and my best friend, Mr. Kastu, for giving me this opportunity, being an opening batsman for the day, and to present this, whatever little things we know about the fluid power. So thank you once again, Kaustubh, for giving me a big introduction. I'm humbled by your introduction. Thank you so much.
Thank you for calling me your best friend.
Sorry?
Thank you for calling me your best friend, I said.
Of course, you are my best friend, no doubt about it. Okay. First, just 1 minute, I'll tell you about my company. My company is Roots Multi-Clean Limited, which is one of the Roots Group companies. Started in the year 1992 with a specific focus for developing products for cleaning. In fact, in 1992, when India was opening up with the globalization, nobody even dreamt of having a machine for cleaning. But that was the vision our chairman had at that time, and he started the business. And now we are running 25 plus years, and we almost export 40% of our production to around the world. So this is a line of our different products. So as we go into the presentation, we'll get to know about what these are. So now the topic of the day is fluid power for a cleaner today and a safer tomorrow. So before we get into the real crux of the topic, I'm sure ever since human race was evolved, I think two things were happening. One is hunger, another is cleaning. So these two are like two eyes of a human being. Why? I'll tell you. Just to set the context, I just take something beyond technology. See, the moment you get up in the morning, what is that first thing you do? It's about cleaning your teeth, brushing your teeth. So our life starts every day with cleaning. So that is what is hunger and cleaning is all about. Without hunger, without food, you can't survive, and without cleaning, you are going to kill the mother nature. So these two are the eyes of human nature if they have to really survive. In fact, I heard about, I think Einstein said, when the bees, honeybees extinct, then the human, that will be the end of the world. In the same way, if you don't clean, definitely we are going to kill the world. So cleaning is as important as that. Okay, what next? So starting from brushing your teeth, then you are taking bath is a kind of a cleaning process. Then after you are dining, cleaning your dining table is another cleaning process. Then vessels, dishwasher is another cleaning process. Then we all have automobiles, we do cleaning. So again, that is a cleaning process. So cleaning exists everywhere, and whatever activity we do, there is a cleaning exists. Even cleaning exists on your laptops. There is a recycle bin where you remove all your junk. So cleaning exists in every facet of our life. So now let us come to our topic for the day. It's for cleaner today, for safer tomorrow. And today we are in a new normal with a mask, sanitization, social distancing, and so many other things. But one thing which is not really debated about, apart from all these three, four jargons, is cleaning. See, we have to start a new life. A pandemic has, in fact, put our life upside down. See, today we are on our first virtual meeting. Have we? I don't think even we can have a daydream of having a virtual meeting like this 2 years before. So Corona has given a new. We need to have a new lease of life. So what we need to do, we can't be doing the same damn things what we were doing before Corona. Definitely, we need to change ourselves first and change our way of life, change our systems, change everything, so that we begin a new way of life. Of course, I don't know whether Corona is going to end, third wave, fourth wave, fifth wave, etc. But what is one thing is sure is we have to learn ourselves how to live with Corona. That is what is most important thing. So in that context, one word, in my opinion, is not really talked about is hygiene. See, everybody talks about a mask. Okay, you use a mask. After that, what do you do with the mask after one or two usage? At least in India, we just throw the mask to the dustbins or throw all over the place. So what is hygiene? This is just a dictionary meaning I would like to give. Keeping yourself and things around you clean in order to prevent disease. But are we really into this? It's a $1 million question, and it's like 50-50. Somebody say I maintain hygiene, some may not. So it is the new normal for us to live safely apart from your mask, social distancing, etc., etc. So now, having said this, how do we really keep hygiene as a way of life? First and foremost thing is stop littering. I think we Indians are nowhere near to this. See, we take it as littering as a birthright. So we litter everywhere. But at least in the new normal, let us stop littering first. Then start cleaning. We need to clean everything. Clean our homes. You need to clean our society. You need to clean your surrounding of your homes, etc. So now, coming to floor cleaning. Forget about the word floor cleaning for a moment. We have cleaning machines. There are n number of different things of cleaning. As I said in the beginning, cleaning is having multi dimensions, right? From cleaning your teeth to cleaning an aircraft. You might have seen how aircrafts are given a water wash, your automobiles. So everywhere cleaning exists. So I would like to limit my discussion because our company is focused only on floor cleaning. How do we really clean floor? The simplest thing is that historically we all do cleaning of our home floor. But what we are going to talk about is beyond your homes. So we are not in equipments for home cleaning. We are just outside the homes. That's what I'm going to talk about. How are we going to do this? See, first of all, before I get into some of the details of floor cleaning, why do we need a machine for that? See, imagine floor means it's a surface, it's an area. So, what is the area we have around the world? Can we have manual scavenging or manual cleaning or sweeping of all the floors? Floor means it is just not the floor in your home or floor in your office. We have floor everywhere. For example, a road is a floor. We need to clean. If you are living in a gated community and your walking track it requires a cleaning, that is also a floor. Your home floor, whether it's a tiled floor or marble, granite, whatever. Then you take, for example, escalator. Can you imagine escalator is also a floor? Have you seen anywhere whether we really need to clean an escalator? In fact, in our experience, whatever we have seen so far, the most dirtiest floor is the escalator. Whatever you use in airports and malls or even in metro stations, one of the most dirtiest floor we can imagine is the escalator. So how do we really clean? Have you ever thought of that we need to clean the escalator? Of course, you will be doing maintenance of escalator by lubricating the chains, lubricating the gearboxes and all. Have you ever seen cleaning of the floor where you step on? The travelator, all these are floors. So that's why we are specialized on floor cleaning. Now we will get into the subject. We have different types of floor cleaning. We have sweepers, which are dry in nature. You just use a broom to sweep. Then you have scrubbers and dryers where we do a wet cleaning using water. Water, maybe sometimes we add a little bit of detergents. Then vacuum cleaning, which many of you would have maybe using in your homes. Then janitorial. Again, some of you may be confused with the word janitorial. It is nothing but the mops what you use in your home front. So all these are the basics of basic equipments to do a floor cleaning, right? Okay, now we will get into the what are the categories. As I told you just before, we have industrial floors, all our factory shop floors, roads, all those things are requiring cleaning. Then the last column, what I'm having here is the walk behind. These are types of machines. Walk behind is something like a lawn mower. You just walk behind the machine, push it so that it does the cleaning. Then we have ride on, where you can sit on the machine and drive like a car. So we have two types of machines. So with this brief introduction, I'll go into the technology behind the floor cleaning, how it is going to get translated into hydraulics. See, generally, all these floor cleaning machines, we have only three types. Either directly driven by electricity with an electric motor, or it can be driven by a battery, or it can be even manual. Just push it, you do the cleaning. Just with a human effort, like mopping is a human effort. Then walk behind machine where the human force is utilized for cleaning. These are the different types of cleaning technologies available. Okay. Now, how does hydraulics finds a place? The advantages of electric machines are they are very, very compact and versatile, very, very simple to use, because by just press of few buttons, you can do the cleaning and control the machine. But what is the limitation? Predominantly, they are meant for indoor use. I'll tell you why. Then weight limitation, long power cords required, size is limited due to motor size. These are the limitations of electric machines. Predominantly, why indoor I said is, suppose you have a road. How do we really power up the machine? Then you need very long cords. Normally, we give around 10 meters of cord for power up. So every 10 meters or at least 20 meters, you need to have a power supply system. So how do we provide power supply on the roads? That's going to be really challenging. So it is limited to confined areas. Then motor size. If you want to have large machines, you need to have powerful motors. Then size increases. Then becomes, you can't be using like walk behind. You need to have a drive mechanism. These are the limitations of the electric machines. More than that, we also have one big problem. Participants, just think of, today we have high-rise buildings. let's say you have a gated community apartment with 10 floors. How do we take these machines from one floor to another? We can't be having 10 machines or one machine for each floor. So how do we really move it? The only way is you need to have a elevator or a lift, goods lift or a passenger lift. So what happens is your machine should be compact enough so that it can be put inside a passenger lift with maybe 8% or 10% capacity, so that you can move the machine from one floor to another. So that is where we are constrained, that we can't have large machines. Though technically it is possible to have large motors, everything is possible technically or theoretically, but these are the practical limitations. How do we move from one floor to another? Then if the machine becomes larger, how do we get into the corners? That is another problem, because we will have, for example, take for example a shop floor. You will have gangways where you can do cleaning very easily, but you also have storage facilities, then machinery, then a lot of material on the floor, so many obstructions. So how do we navigate this machine? So machine need to be highly maneuverable so that you can reach the nook and corners of the floor. Otherwise your cleaning will become incomplete and ineffective. Now let's come to battery. Again, the advantages remains the same, but here we have a very big limitation is about the this is what duty cycle and the battery. See, now every one of us are slowly migrating into e-vehicles, two-wheeler, four-wheeler, everything. But what happens is, how much time is required to charge the battery and how much of a duty cycle you will get. In cleaning machines, at least as of now, for a charge of 8 hours, you will get a cleaning cycle of 4 hours. That is what is the battery versus the duty cycle balance as it exists today. Of course, a lot of research is going on to increase this, but still, as of today, it is a big challenge for us. So, for example, I'll give you a practical scenario. In cleaning, it always works on a very small window of time. For example, you come to office every day, you find garbage everywhere, not cleaned. What will be your mood in the morning when you barge into your office? So the window available for cleaning is either between before the office starts, maybe morning 6 to 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, or after office hours. So the window available is very, very short. So within that time, you can't be doing charging and all. So you need to do the complete cleaning. So this forces people to have multiple machines. So what is the way forward? So to summarize the limitations, we have predominantly indoor use, weight, shorter duty cycles, and most importantly, higher cost. The cost of battery is really, really expensive. So what happens is the cost of ownership for the machine is really, really high. That is why this is one of the prohibiting factor for somebody to buy a machine. So what is the way forward? So need of the hour is, now with the new normal, we can't be cleaning only the indoors. We need to expand it to outdoors, where the bulk of the garbage is getting generated, and we need to maintain hygiene. That means we need to clean large areas, roads, big buildings, airports, etc. So definitely we need a mechanized way of cleaning to save our earth. So what is the way forward? So the answer what we thought of is, we need to have a power source which can give continuous power to the equipment. That is engine driven machines, where you just fill the fuel, shut it, forget it, you drive until the fuel is exhausted. You can drive again, you can top up the fuel within few minutes and again drive the machine again. So you are it's practically continuous cleaning process. Now we will get into how we are going to manage this. See, this is the photograph of the engine driven machine. So I'll be explaining you how the hydraulics is embedded into this machine, moving away from electrical, and then you can understand the power of fluid power in cleaning. So first I'm going to show you a video. So please watch carefully the video and the different functionalities. Maybe in between I will try to pause the video and give you what you need to look at, right? So let me start the video. See, this is one important thing. Electric machines, I told you, is shorter duty cycle. It means a duty cycle of maybe 4 hours will clean something like 4,000 square meters. Just see the power of the motor engine driven machine. It can clean 17,300 square meters per hour comfortably. Okay, this is one important thing. You can see the maneuverability of the equipment. So it is 100% outdoor. So you can see how big roads are being cleaned. Just see so much of black powder is there on the floor, and just behind the machine you just see this floor is cleaned and all the garbage has been collected. Okay, maybe I'll play the video again. Just see the behind of the machine, all the garbage is collected. So now, if you really need to collect such a large area, imagine what will happen if you have to put on manual cleaning. Then electric machines, definitely they can't clean so much. This is where the power of engine comes in. See, again, you can see this is a dirty area. This is the cleaned area. You can see the difference between the clean and uncleaned surface. So this is inside the shop floor. Just see how the cleaning happens. So this is what I was mentioning. See, you have all the material, racks, everything there. So how do we really clean? This is where the maneuverability becomes a very important factor. So once the garbage is collected, you can just dump it. Okay, hope you have seen the thing. Now we will get into the nitty-gritties of the equipment. So what are the fundamental requirements of a cleaning machine, particularly the sweeper? So first is mobility. So mobility comes in two areas. One is transport, another one is cleaning mode. See, you need to move the machine from one place to another. So you need to drive like a car in a transportation mode. And when during cleaning, you can't drive at the same speed like a transport mode, because you need to engage the brush and you need to collect the garbage, then put it inside a consolidating hopper and all. Okay, so you need to have two things, transport and cleaning, but both requirements are different because speed is different, requirements are different. Then the function is cleaning itself. How do we really clean? We need brushes, we need suction. So a cleaning process requires two things. And within brush, we need three things. One is you need to drive the brush. Then we need to apply some pressure on the brush, because there will be sticking dirt on the floor. So you need to apply some pressure so that sticking garbage is removed from the floor. Then we need to do the manipulation. So I'll be explaining you in the coming slides what do you really mean by manipulation. Then once the cleaning is complete, then you need to dump the garbage in a proper secured place. Then we need steering. Then we need a transmission. Okay, these are the fundamental requirements of a sweeper. Now we will get into a comparison of what is today and what is the future. So all these things, see, I told you the limitations of the electrical, but still we can continue with the electrical system. Maybe we can have a battery and alternator built in, then motors, actuators. Still it is possible, but again limitation, because this battery technology Until recent times, it was not that much powerful. But today, with the advent of e-vehicle technology picking up with the lithium-ion batteries, this battery technology is growing like anything, and we are getting very compact batteries with a higher power density, so that we can use the machines for longer hours. So that means we still have the electrical option, and it is really going to, it's developing in a very fast pace. So what is the way forward for today? Because electrical is for the future. Only option available is hydraulics. That is what we have found, that hydraulics is the only way forward as of now. My dear fluid power professionals, as said in the beginning inaugural speeches by various speakers like MSR sir and others, today hydraulics has got a very big potential, but at the same time it is going to be challenged by the battery based electrical technology, where we are getting very powerful batteries, then BLDC motors, PMDC motors, so many other technologies are coming up, so which is definitely going to challenge hydraulics. See, in the opening remarks we talked about the automation is going to be the future, but definitely while hydraulics is going to be the mainstay of automation, but equally electrical based systems are going to challenge the hydraulics technology. So let us also appreciate the threat which is looming around us. So as hydraulics professionals, let's recognize the threat which is going to come up and work way forward about robotics and other things. How do we really challenge electrical technology? So let's get into the next. We'll move on to how we have really done. See, I have explained you the functionalities or requirements of a sweeper. So first and foremost thing what we require is a prime mover. So instead of a motor, electric motor, we have made a engine. In our case, we selected diesel engine for the purpose of economies. So we have a diesel engine. Then engine is coupled with a VDP pump and a gear pump. Then from here, the output is taken through hoses to other manifolds and valves. Then it is again fed to hydro motors, cylinders, actuators, etc., etc. This is how the workflow happens in our diesel powered machine. Now, so before we get into the subject, I'll go back to the previous slide, this one. Here I want to explain you how things are happening and how hydraulics is going to help us. See, first we'll talk about mobility. We have a transport mode and a cleaning mode. See, transport mode means, you have seen the picture, it is like a for any car or a commercial vehicle. All of you know that whenever you want to move the vehicle, you need a very high torque in the beginning, so that you move the vehicle, and as you go up, you change gears to pick up speed. Okay. Now that means what? You have a prime mover, you have a flywheel, you have a clutch, then you have a gearbox where you change the gears either automatically or manually to do the transportation. Okay. So that's a requirement. Again, cleaning means it requires a high torque and constant speed requirement. So in transport mode, where we have a variable speed, whereas in a constant mode, cleaning mode, we need a constant speed, right? Now let's come to this. Then dumping. Of course, you are going to dump something like 2 tons of collected garbage. So you need a huge force to lift the garbage collector. Then steering. Of course, it's a simple, steering is simple, but problem is from the driver steering wheel, how do you link it to the wheels? In normal things, you will be having a steering shaft with a universal joint and coupled with a tow rod, etc., to connect to the wheels. Now, and transmission is just a gearbox. Okay. Now, what happens in our machine? All these are required in a conventional way, but what happens in our machine? I'll go there. Now you see, this is the place, the front portion where the garbage dumper is fixed. So how do we place the engine here? So placing the engine itself has become a problem. Normally in a conventional way, we'll be placing the engine either in the front or in the rear. But here, I don't have an option to place it in the front or rear. Okay, one. Now, these two are the tires. Then I have the steering in the front. Actually, this is the steering cylinder. Steering cylinder is here. So how do I connect this portion to the wheels? No way we can connect the wheels with the mechanical linkages, like whether it's a power steering or an ordinary steering. The mechanical linkages is impossible here, right? So what is the way? And the third important thing, suppose, can we link the transmission to the rear wheel? But unfortunately, we have the brush here across the width of the machine, and it is touching the ground for purpose of cleaning. So how do we take the transmission? Suppose even if you are able to locate the engine in the front, how do we take the transmission to the rear wheel? Front wheel drive is also not possible. Rear wheel drive is also not possible. So these are the big challenges in a conventional way of putting all these elements into place. So what is the way forward? So the only option available is we have to place the engine on the side between the front and the rear wheels. Then we need to have the garbage collection dump here. Then we have brushes here. Then we need to have a fuel tank. Then we need to have a hydraulic tank. So what we have done is, here is the garbage collector. The main brush is here. Side brush is here. Just below the driver seat, we have a diesel tank and the hydraulic tank. And we have kept the engine on the side. Right. Now, how do we take the transmission from the side of the engine to the wheels? That is the big challenge. Okay, I have explained all these things. Now, the solution coming up here is simple hydraulics can help us in overcoming all these problems. You see, space is also very premium. You can see here, it's such a compact machine. Participants, I want you to recollect the video, how the vehicle is going to the corners and also you can't have a lengthy chassis. So you need to have a compact one so that your maneuverability is not lost. So space is a constraint and it's a premium. So with the available space, we need to put everything together. So what we have done is, we have put, you can see the engine on the side, and we have just coupled directly the VDP pump. I'll be showing that picture in the coming slides, just behind the engine on the flywheel directly, so that the VDP pump is tandem mounted along with another gear pump, so that it is building the pressure. Now, what happens is this VDP is connected by hose. Hose routing is simple because you don't need to have a mechanical connection. It is just a hose end to end. You can route it the way you want and whatever space available. So that way we got the flexibility by using a VDP pump to transmit the power from the engine hydraulically to the various elements of the requirement, like wheels, then cleaning brushes, steering, side brush, everything. Now I'll show you the next picture. So what we have done is transmission. So gearbox is eliminated, clutch is eliminated. So you can see only two pedals here. It is clutchless. There is another requirement for the thing. The same driver is only going to do the driving the vehicle as well as cleaning the vehicle, right? So he can't be pressing the clutch every now and then to change gears. It's impossible. So we need to give him a kind of an automatic control so that there is no change of gear. So hydraulic gear helps us in doing that. So it is a clutchless vehicle. So first, user friendliness. So this is just a brake and accelerator. Again, how do you do the reverse turning? So you need a gearbox for going in the reverse. See, it is not aircraft where you can have a pusher vehicle to push it to the rear or take the reverse direction. So without gearbox, how do we really achieve? This accelerator pedal is designed in such a way, if you press in the forward direction, it moves in the forward direction. If you press here, it will move in the reverse direction. So one accelerator pedal gives you bi-directional movement without any problem. So driver can control very easily the forward and reverse movement, because during cleaning, there will be instant movement of forward and reverse. So driver will be able to easily control the direction of travel with this just with a press of the pedal. And then come here. So it is ergonomically placed. So on the right hand, he will control the steering. On the left hand, he will control all the hydraulically connected elements. So it is very easy and it's easily reachable. So he can just with the one hand, he can operate everything. So this is what hydraulics has given us to design a product overcoming all the mechanical limitations. So this is the first portion. Now I'll come to the second one, cleaning. See, cleaning is really a complex process. It is not as easy as we see or think about. See, brushes need to rotate. Then during transport mode, brushes need to go up. It should not touch the floor because otherwise it will wear out. Then brushes need to be oriented because depending on the garbage condition, it need to be oriented because as the cleaning happens, brushes keep wearing out. So you need to keep the brush down, down, down until the complete bristles are worn out. So you need to have different controls required to do the brush manipulation. Next, I am going to show you a video how the brush happens. See, this is the main brush. See, this is how it cleaning happens. So here what happens is now it is actually touching the floor. So by rotational force, the garbage is collected in a anti-clockwise direction, and you have the front wheel here and a garbage dumper on the front. So with the centrifugal force, it will just throws the garbage into the dumper. So this brush acts in two things. One is taking out the garbage from the front by scrubbing, and then throwing the collected garbage by mechanical force of kinetic energy generated by the rotation. It throws it into the garbage collector. So this is how it works. Then next, suppose you are transporting the vehicle. You can't be engaging the brush to the floor, otherwise it wear out. So what we will do is, there is a cylinder inside which is hidden here. This lift will be, a brush will be lifted up whenever you are in transport mode, so that vehicle can move very freely. Now we will talk about how the cleaning happens. So you can see the side brush and the main brush is here. Okay, you can see the driver position. So he controls on one hand the steering by visually sees where the dust is, and on the left hand he will be controlling the different elements of the cleaning machine. See how he is maneuvering. You can see the position of his foot on the pedal. You can see he is pressing on the front. At the same time, he can press here if he wants to reverse it. See, you'll be having a 360-degree eye control because you need to visually see and do the cleaning. This is how the cleaning works. So next, I want this is the next video how the brush manipulation happens. You need to watch very carefully. See, in this one, maybe I'll see here. You can see now it is in a fully lifted up position. See, keep watching this area. You can see the brush slowly coming down and engaging to the floor as the video progresses. So I will get into the video, okay? Okay, you can see, keep watching here. You can see a white portion coming down. It's a cylinder. So now it is engaged. See, initially it will be in a horizontal plane. That is, this plane is horizontal. As the cleaning happens, there will be a tilting happens to the tune of 5 degrees, so that the garbage is thrown from outside. By this rotation, garbage is sent here, so that the main brush inside will collect the garbage. You can see the cylinder portion here, then it will lift up. You can see the brush going up here. I'll repeat the video. Here you will see. Okay. Now, friends, it is technically possible to have even an electrically operated actuator here. But the problem is so much of electrical power is required to be built into the machine, which is not practicable. Then, now you see the same brush principle. How we are you can see the gap here. This here it is fully touching the floor. Here it is little bit tilted. This is required, as I explained you, to put the garbage from this area to inside this machine, so that the main brush collects it. Okay. So you can see the dust is getting inside. So now we have seen about transmission or transport mode. We have seen about cleaning the machine. Now we'll see about dumping. Dumping is very simple, like any other backhoe loader or anything. We are just going to lift and dump. It's as simple as that. But what we were doing in electric machine is, in electric machine, we used to manually remove the hopper because the machines are so small. I'll give you a comparison. An electric driven machine has a capacity of 40 or 50 liters of volumetric capacity of collecting garbage. That is the maximum capacity possible with electric machines because these machines are very, very small. So 40-50 liters of garbage can be removed by human effort and then dumped into the dump yard. Whereas here we are talking about something like 600 liters, and the weight of garbage along with other things can go up to maximum of 2 tons. So no, I don't think anything manually possible. So simple hydraulics helps us in dumping it. So again, I'm going to play you the video. So here we have articulation. So first we bring out the garbage collector, then lift up and dump. See here I'll put, there are some rubber flaps here, and here there is a door. What happens is this cylinder opens and closes the door. There is another cylinder which you will be seeing in the coming as we progress on the video. It will lift up and do the manipulation. So this door will be kept open when the brush is running for the garbage collection. Once the collection is over, this will be closed and lifted up. See, you can see here the lift cylinder. Sorry. Okay, anyway, we can see here in this video. Just a moment, it's taking time. Excuse me. Sorry, gentlemen, some problem in technology. Hope my screen is on the, you are able to see?
No, Mr. Ravi Kumar, we are not able
to share again?
Yeah, you'll need to share again.
Yes. Sorry, gentlemen, for the interruption. So you can, in this video, I'm going to show the internals. So you can see there is a cylinder here for the articulation of the collection hopper. And here we have the hydraulic motor, which runs the brush. See, here you can see the real flexibility of hydraulics. See, with the simple hoses and routing in small areas, we are able to connect the prime mover, the power source to the application. This is just not possible in any mechanical stuff or any other way. Either it is possible electrically or hydraulically, but electrically has its own limitations, as I explained to you before. So with the power of hydraulics, we are able to put so much of power transmission in a small area. Here you can see the main cylinder, which is lifting up the hopper. So this is in a fully lifted position. So you can see it is moving forward so that the garbage can be dumped on the dump yard. See here you can see there's one manifold where we are able to distribute the power required for various things with control valves. So compact. You can see the door opening now. So next comes steering. Again, it's simple hydraulic cylinder connected to the hose. And here there is a very, very important thing I want to explain to you, the requirement of steering. See, every one of us know what is really a steering is, just to control the direction or turn left, right. Okay. But normally in any vehicle, you would have seen the turning radius is maximum 30 degrees. Be it a two-wheeler or a four-wheeler, the maximum turn radius is 30 degrees from the center. Okay, the included angle is 30 degrees, or the shortest turn cycle, what you can think of. But here in cleaning machine, we need a very, very important thing, that we need to take a about turn. That is, just you have to flip upside down. That is one of the important requirement, because in the first video you would have seen how many times the cleaning machine goes up and down to do the entire large surface area. So now I will show you how it really happens. See here, if you have to do a about turn, you need to have a steering angle of 90 degrees, which is just impossible with mechanical linkages, because as I explained you, the front wheel you can't do because there is a hopper. Rear wheel, again, it's a only single wheel, you can't do it for 90 degrees. Now I'm going to show you the video how this is being achieved with hydraulics. See, before I start the video, I'll show you. Here you can see a cylinder. This one cylinder is controlled from the steering and moves this wheel 90 degrees. Okay, just see the video to understand the concept. See, I've given you two views, outside view and inner view. So 90 degrees. So this is one of the very, very important requirement of the product. So where you need to do an about turn, which is just not possible with conventional steering mechanisms. So now you see how really it happens in the action when it is you are really doing a cleaning. Just watch this video for understanding better. See how it is taking an about turn. So gentlemen, so these are the requirements. So here is the power of fluid hydraulics really helped us in designing a product which is so much versatile to do a cleaning, and the effectiveness of cleaning is very, very powerful compared to the electric machines. So then transmission, as I told you, a simple VDP pump, and we have a gear pump which is connected to the control valves, does the transmission to all the parts like wheels, brushes, and lifting mechanisms, hydraulic cylinders, and actuators. So this is the picture which I mentioned earlier, how the VDP pump and the gear pump is mounted. So here, this is the engine flywheel cover. So VDP pump is directly mounted, and it is again tandem mounted is the gear pump. So with these two directly mounted to the engine, we are able to achieve both mobility as well as the power transmission in single flexible unit. Just by connecting hoses, we are able to achieve the thing.
Mr. Ravi Kumar, sorry to interrupt. We have a couple of more minutes.
Yes, sure. I'm going to complete. I think more or less another 2 slides only. So this is the summary of what we have discussed so far. I'll skip this slide. So keeping this as a technology, we are able to achieve a bigger cleaning facility for the entire world, so that hygiene can be maintained in a better way than what we are today. So this is the conceptual small machine, mainly designed for small communities and local townships. Of course, the same concept is we have applied to a large machine. The two pictures what you are seeing is meant for cleaning highways, where you can clean a highway length of 6 kilometers in 1 hour with these two machines. Both are same machines, just for the purpose of we have two models. This is a BharatBenz truck, and this is a Eicher truck. So these two different models I have kept here. So last thing, I'm going to conclude with one thing. I hope all of you know about this. What is this? It's a runway for takeoff. So aircraft is standing and ready for takeoff. Fine, gentlemen, most of us will be traveling in and out, flying in and out from our places for the purpose of business, social purpose, pleasure, etc. Have you ever thought, our runways are safe for landing and takeoff? It's $1 million question. I am throwing it for and provoking you to think. Have you ever thought, sitting in an aircraft, that you are safe on the runway? Forget about the tarmac or taxiway. I'm particularly talking about the takeoff and landing runway. Have you ever thought that you are safe? Definitely would not have thought. At least for today, think about it. Runways are the most dangerous, in the sense, most safety critical things in the world. Even a small nail can be catastrophic for taking and landing. So runways do require cleaning. I don't think you can ever dream of cleaning the runway, or is being done really. Of course, the runways are being cleaned, and we have, to best of my knowledge, in India, I think Cochin Airport and Mumbai Airport has the mechanized cleaning thing. Of course, Cochin Airport is our product is running, and this is the runway cleaner. So where the runways are cleaned for the purpose of safety of landing and takeoff of the aircraft. So with this, I conclude all these are becoming possible because of hydraulics. So hydraulics has given us the biggest flexibility to design a product which can do all these kinds of cleaning, and in a cost-effective way and in a most efficient way. With this, I conclude my presentation. So thanks for the opportunity. Now we are open for questions.
Mr. Ravi Kumar, thank you for blending cleanliness, hydraulics, and its advantages vis-a-vis other power transfer mechanisms in such a meaningful manner. We always thought that the beauty of hydraulics lies in its elegance. I have a few quick questions because we have completely run out of time. So I would just request you to keep your answers also as crisp as possible.
Yes,
so there is a query about from Mr. Prasanna Kumar. What is the present penetration of these devices within municipalities and corporations?
Present?
Penetration, how much of acceptance it is in terms of percentage?
I can talk about India. The penetration is practically zero. Hardly few machines are running. Maybe I can give you a few examples. Delhi city, there are 4 machines running, and Chennai, just last year October, they placed 40 machines for cleaning Chennai in 2 particular zones, zone 5 and zone 8. And maybe some 5-6 machines are running in Bangalore. In Coimbatore, there is only 1 machine running. Bhopal, they have a couple of machines. Jaipur is having a couple of machines. But penetration as of now, the small machine, whatever I said now is the bigger one, the truck mounted machine, what I showed in the last but before slide, white color trucks. These are the road cleaners employed in big cities. Maybe I would say in total of India, there will be hardly less than 200 machines.
Okay.
Whereas the small machine in India, we have more than 4,000 machines already running in various private places, not in public places.
Okay.
Because these machines are not yet RTO approved for using on the public roads. So it is mostly confined to private roads and gated communities.
Right.
More than 4,000 machines are in India.
Right. Is this equipment that you have mentioned, is it meant only for dry operations or it can handle wet waste also?
No, sir, this is only for dry.
Okay.
Because it is sweeping itself. The moment we say sweeping, it is only dry. But of course, we have a water spray built into the system only for the purpose of suppressing dust. Because when the brush is rotating at high speed, there will be a lot of dust flying from the floor. So to suppress that, we have a water mechanism that is just a mist spray. It is meant for dry application only.
What about the health safety of the operator? Do you have anything like a close call option for your machine?
See, driver per se, before COVID, he doesn't need to do any big thing except for a nasal mask because there'll be a lot of fly dust coming. So normally what they do is depending on the site safety regulations, operators use safety goggles, a helmet, ear muff, and a nasal mask. Okay,
Right.
of course safety shoes. But we do have model, the higher end models where we have a fully closed cabin like a car, and we also have air conditioning inside the cabin. That is all optional.
Okay. Right. Now, there was one more question about the steering mechanism and how do you manage the very small turning radius, but I think you have already explained that in your presentation.
Yes.
So I'll not take that question. The last question is a little more subjective, but I request you to keep your answer crisp. The question is, the whole world is moving towards electrical vehicles and equipments. We are coming back to IC engine technology with your options. So how do you reconcile this, movement towards EV on one side and your emphasis on IC engines on the other?
Yes. So I have answered this question already in my presentation. I think probably slide number 24 or something, where the way forward I have mentioned, we have both electric option as well as hydraulic option. But as of now, with the technology available, the comparison between electric and hydraulics has a better weightage and flexibility. Of course, e-vehicles are, that's what I said. As a hydraulics professional, we are being threatened and challenged with the upcoming battery and electrical technology. So we need to wake up and build our hydraulics to still maintain the supremacy over the electric. Of course, it is a challenge coming up. We are also working on those technologies where how do we harness the battery technology replacing the IC engines. That is there. That's what I told in the beginning. There are challenges. Right. We need to rise up to the occasion. This supremacy cannot be sustained for longer. You need to have the hybrids. In fact, the inaugural speaker, our MSR sir, also mentioned about this.
Right.
We can't be complacent sitting idle with the same thing. We need to hybrid our technology with the EV.
Right, sir. Right, sir. I got the point. We are still getting a few more questions, but I'll take just one last question.
Sure, sir.
Basically clubbing 2 or 3 questions. In this, if I were to take the bill of materials for this machine, how much of it is an imported component and how much of it is made in India?
I would say 15% is imported, 85% is indigenous. Okay. See, I would say the predominant imported thing is the hydraulics, the VDP pump.
Okay.
VDP pump, the gear pump.
Okay.
Those things are only the imported content.
Okay. Okay.
Rest of the things are 100%. See, the engine what we use is Indian engine. All the wheels, tire, everything is Indian except the hydraulics portion, particularly the VDP and the gear pump.
Okay, so we as hydraulics professionals have a lot of ground to cover.
No, of course, we are getting from a local vendor only, but his manufacturing plant is outside India.
Right, I understand. Right, sir. So, Mr. Ravi Kumar, thank you so much for this very, very engaging presentation. I'm still getting questions on the feed, but I think I'll have to stop it here
Okay, sir.
because we have to move on with the next session. So,
Yes.
thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much
Yes.
for explaining and blending all these diverse trends in a single presentation. And from on behalf of the Coimbatore chapter of FPSI and the FPSI in general and our sponsors, I thank you for sharing your thoughts and insights with us. Thank you so
Yes,
much
sir.
and have a great
Thank
day.
you, sir.